Hello guys, a very warm welcome to my IT class. We are going through a series of C++ tutorials. So in that one we have started constructors and destructors. In the last video I demonstrated the use of constructor and I discussed in detail two types of constructors like default constructor and parameterized constructor. So in this video I will be discussing more about copy constructor and the counterpart of constructor, that is a destructor, what it is and what is its need, that I'll going to discuss with you guys. So that's the agenda here, shallow copy versus deep copy. In order to understand the need of user defined copy constructor, you must know what is a shallow copy and deep copy, and then finally you can go for a destructor. So let's start our discussion with shallow copy versus deep copy. As the name tells, shallow, which is not deep, so superficial copy will be there. When you define a class, there are a set of bunch of attributes. As per those attributes, an object has states. So here the shallow copying only it copies the attributes, data members, so fields you can say. That's the meaning here. We have said the entire set of member fields it will copy. It is okay, fine, as long as the fields are of simple types. If it has some pointer and somewhere in the class if you allocated memory dynamically, that copying will not be done with shallow copy. So in the next example, in the next slide, I have an example for you guys. There I'll demonstrate how shallow copy fails to copy memory from heap. It will only copy the attributes, data members, fields. And deep copying is one wherein we will copy memory from heap also. So this will not be done by the system. We need to, as a programmer, we need to write extra code for it. That's what we do in copy constructor. That's the need of copy constructor. So the system supplies a default copy constructor, say, that will only do shallow copy. If you want a deep copying, that is you want to copy the entire block from heap in the new object, then you must perform deep copy. How you should do it? There are different ways. The one way and the easy way, best way is copy constructor. The other way is you can overload assignment operator. That I'll discuss when we go for operator overloading concept. So let's go to the example and understand how a copy constructor is defined and how it is used. Look at this example. I have designed a class called dynamic array. There is a dyna array, that means it is a dynamic array. The array, we can grow the array at runtime and even we can shrink the array at runtime as per our requirement. So we can create an array. One array we can have, one object we can have for 100 numbers, one we can have for 10 numbers. There will be no wastage, there will be no shortage. That's the aim of or objective of dynamic memory allocation. So now here you will be defining a constructor. All the three types of constructors you have defined here. Say this is a default constructor. This is a default constructor, this one, and you have another constructor here, say this one. This is parameterized constructor. So when I pass parameter to it like this way, it is a parameterized constructor, and this constructor is copy constructor. This is the way we define copy constructor. So when we have copy constructor, this syntax we have to follow in C++. This is a reference operator. It is a must. We must make use of a reference operator. So when you define copy constructor, the rules are same again. It has no return type, you can see here, and it is normally defined in the public section, and it is also called automatically when you create a new object. Say how you will be using copy constructor here. All the three constructors I'll demonstrate here now. Say you are in main function and you are creating dynamic arrays. Say one array I have created dynamic A1, and there is another array A2, wherein I'll be giving my size like say 100 or anything user defined. Also you can say, you can input from user and pass the variable. Then say how I have A2, same I want to have A3 also, so I'll be copying. Say this is how the copy constructor is called. So for this a default constructor is called, because there is no argument here. So if there is no argument, for that the default constructor will be there, and for A2 it is the parameterized constructor, and for A3 it is copy constructor. So this constructor is called here. A2 is collected by reference here now. So A2 is nothing but DA, DA is nothing but A2 now. So A2 you are copying in A3. So what is the implicit here? When you call a constructor, the implicit object is going A3 automatically. So this N is of A3, this A is of A3. Say if there were no copy constructor, how it would have copied, that I will first show you. Say you have not used copy constructor, you have used assignment. That time what happens, say this is A3, say this is A3. In A3 what we have, one variable like pointer A and the other is N. So when you created A2 dynamically you created, you have come to parameterized constructor. There you are assigning some size like N you have given, and you are giving some values. You have allocated memory. Say this is heap memory. So in heap you will be allocating the array. So this way there are blocks, and say its start address is 1000. This will come in A. So we new returns the start address of the block. Here 1000 it will be. Then size whatever you have given, say 100 you have given, 100 or whatever it is. Now when you have a shallow copy, that time this is your A2. And let's talk about A3. When A3 is created, again for that memory will be created A3, and again for A will be there, and again N will be there. So when you have A3 here, what happens, if there were no copy constructor, it will only copy the fields. Say 1000 it will copy, and then 100 it will copy. 100 it has copied. The block, this elements memory from heap it will not copy. It will not allocate memory for A of A3. It will not allocate memory for A. It will simply copy this 1000. So what happens here now? What is the consequence in case if A2 is deleted or A2 is removed? Say A2 has gone out of scope and A2 is removed. Then A3 is still pointing to this 1000. A3 has been already deleted, but A2 is already deleted, but A3 is still pointing to this location. So this is not a valid location now, because you have deleted this 1000. This memory you have deleted now, because A2 you have deleted. So this is how it leads to some sort of conflict with memory. That's why what you need to do now, you have to define a copy constructor, or you need to overload the assignment operator. When you use copy constructor, what would be the scenario? Again here, see now what is the scenario here. You will be taking, say this is A3. In A3 this N is of A3 and this A is of A3. So N of A3 is assigned with DA.N, A2.N. A2.N is 100. So that got initialized. Then A is equal to, what we do, we will not depend on this memory. Again we'll allocate a new memory from heap. Again we allocate, say it is some 2000 address. So in A3 it will be 2000 will go. That 1000 will not be there, because if A2 is removed or if something happens to A2, we will not be able to have A3, because A3 will have wrong things. That's why what we do now here, again one by one elements we will copy from A2. So whatever elements here we have, those things we will copy here. Now A3 is safe. Even if A2 is gone out of scope, or if A2 is destroyed, if A2 got corrupted, we don't have any issue because we have safely copied. This is how copy constructor will help you to copy the elements from dynamic memory allocation scheme, that is from heap. So I guess you got an idea what is the need of a constructor, copy constructor and overloading operator. Overloading operator I'll explain you in detail in my future class. So now let's go to a destructor. So this example which I have given you, it has a potential issue. What is that? Already I have said in some video that any memory allocated dynamically must be freed by the user, the programmer. If he fails to free that memory, a hole will be created in memory. You have allocated dynamically here now. Say this is what you have done, allocation dynamically here. So you must delete the memory dynamically, and that should be done by the programmer. The system will not do that. Say now you will quit and come out of the program, then a hole will be created. This will remain occupied. This will show the status of occupied. That's why you must delete this memory. You know the concept, like I'll show you now here. There is a concept of scope. When an object goes out of scope, what happens? So this is a scope now. Say this is one scope where I have created A1, and this is another scope where I have created A2, and this is another scope where I have created A3. So A and A1 are A1 and A3 are in the same scope, A2 is in this scope. So when the control is inside here, A2 is created, but when the control exits this block and now the control has come here, what happens here now? A2 is destroyed from memory because A2 has gone out of scope. So when the object goes out of scope, by default what happens? A system function, that is a destructor, gets called. So a destructor gets called when an object goes out of scope. This is what we say now. When this object A2 goes out of scope, then we need to claim the memory back. So the system will take care of it. But if A2 has allocated any memory dynamically, if it has allocated, like this case, this example, here we have allocated memory dynamically. For A2 we have allocated dynamically, for A3 also we have allocated dynamically. So when we go out of scope, A2 and A3 will be destroyed. So the memory occupied by this pointer 4 bytes, this 4 bytes will be freed. But the memory which you have allocated here, say 10 bytes or 100 bytes, whatever it is in the parameterized constructor you pass, that will not be freed. So for that we need to define the destructor, user defined destructor we have to define. How we do that? I'll show you here. So what is a destructor? First we will understand. A destructor is again a special member function like a constructor, but it has a function name as class name itself, but it is preceded with the tilde operator. So like this is called tilde operator. So the this destructor, class name itself, again there is no return type, but it has no arguments. It will not take arguments. There is no parameterized destructor kind of thing. There is only default destructor. We need to define. So when we define, what happens? We will be explicitly removing the memory which we have allocated. If we are not allocated any memory, that time you don't need to define the destructor. The default destructor will take care of those variables. But if you incorporate dynamic allocation of memory for your object, then it is a responsibility to define the default destructor. So how we will add now here in this example? The destructor will add like this. So it is a dyna array, and this is what we don't pass anything. Now this is the body of the destructor. Here we'll say delete. What is our pointer used here? A. In A we have a block of that. This block address will be there. This block address. So when we say delete A, what happens here now? That memory which we have allocated will go. So this is how now the program is complete, and it is a foolproof program. It has no any potential bugs. This is how the destructor will help you to remove any memory allocated by programmer at the time of run. And Moreover, if you don't have any dynamic allocation, the default constructor will take care. So now we'll see what we're going to discuss in the next video. Inheritance in C++. What is the need of inheritance and what is the importance with respect to software development, we'll see. So I guess you got an idea what constructors and destructors are. So in a nutshell, I'll brush up. A constructor is a member function which is used to set up the object, initial values for an object, thereby constructing memory, whereas a destructor is one which will clean the object. So the memory occupied by the object will be cleaned. So you need explicit destructor or user defined destructor when your class makes use of dynamic allocation of memory for objects. So hope you got the concept and enjoyed the session. Thanks for watching.